Hello, friends. So, we are going to be reading yet another poem. I know, shocking for me. But this poem is not kind of, it is definitely a blast from the past. This is a poem I wrote a couple years ago. And this was, I'll read the description because this got posted on social media naturally. It was week one of grad school because I'm studying to be a teacher, right? Special education and English teacher extraordinaire coming at you live here. Um, and so during our cohorts, our crew of other prospective teacher candidates that I get to hang out with forever, it seems, it was our week of welcome. We were tasked with a scavenger hunt. And one of the missions was to write an 8-line poem. And this is what I got to write in 2 minutes because that's all the time I had. So, and nobody else was going to volunteer. And yeah, you already know. So here we go. This is for you guys. The paper is dry as my soul. I have known since I was 9 years old. My favorite color is gold because I'm rich, like a political mole. I have much to learn if I want to be a good teacher. So writing a poem is a pretty good feature. So next time I want feed the soul. Oh, next time I want to feed the soul, I'll go to WSU's MIT program, for whom the bell tolls. There was a typo in the book. And as you know, this and every other video is cold, so I literally haven't read it till I just read it. Oh my goodness. What in the world is this? Oh gosh. Okay, so clearly that was on one. No, but in all seriousness, no, I think that I don't even know where to begin. So let's just talk about the illusion. ALLUSION. Right at the very end, right? When I reference For Whom the Bell Tolls. Right? That's a book. Um and this poem is essentially about, I think, kind of going to be my journey in the program, really. It's the paper is dry as my soul. I mean, and that was probably written very comically to make my fellow cohort members laugh, but um and also probably an obscure reference in a tribute to a line in one of the Harry Potter films where one of the characters is being described as your soul is dry as the pages in the books that to which you so desperately cleave. That was probably also a direct reference to that. But that idea, you start out with just theory, right? And that transference of the art and science of teaching becomes now your practice, right? And how you close that gap between research and practice, or your teaching practice. Um, and I think there's something to be said about the innocence of this poem when I go into the idea that I've known since I was 9 years old. And I think I picked that just because nine is one of those arbitrary numbers. You always hear like these milestone numbers, like, oh, I was 10 or I was 21, like, but you never hear about nine. And I think that's one of the moments in life where people start to not necessarily shove the idea of careers down your throat, but you start thinking about it heavily if you haven't thought about it already, And so there's that part, the first quatrain of this poem. And the cool thing, it was actually written on a wall of a school. Like this school had walls that you could use dry erase markers on, and you could erase it, and it would be completely fine. Which, of course, every child is like in your adult body is screaming for that idea of being able to write on a wall, and it's fine, right? So um And then, of course, I think my favorite color is gold is one of those like random lines that I just stuck in there to help it rhyme, right? Because the last word I had used prior to that was, old, 9 years old. My favorite color is gold. So again, very much an innocent um, intro. And since this is on my phone here, sorry, I think I just kind of run with it a little bit because stating I am rich like a political mole, if you don't know the reference to, like, if there's a mole in your establishment, a mole is somebody who is uh, committing betrayal to a company and they're feeding information to the competitor or whatever. And so I think that, and just to say you're rich like one, you're getting paid an awful lot. You're definitely not rich in morale. Um, and so I think there was probably some type of random connection between my favorite color is gold and I'm rich like a political mole is the fascination of being rich, hopefully in knowledge. We'll just go with that because it was at best probably a random little insertion into the poem when I go into that part. But, um, and then we get serious, right? Where we talk about, I have much to learn. Okay, we bring focus back if I want to be a good teacher. And so writing this poem, participating in this week of welcome with my cohort members was a good feature. Not great feature, just a good one. As just to say, this was definitely written in a hurry. I think that was just a comical genius was writing this that day. I don't know what. But um, I do round it back to the first line in the poem where I talk about my soul. Uh, that's so dry. We get this line of, so next time I want to feed the soul. All right, going back to the idea of like always consuming literature for yourself instead of, now you have to teach it to kids, right? There's a big difference between getting your bachelor's in English and then getting your master's in teaching, as I've done. You are completing different types of degrees. Um, I end it with, I guess I gotta go back to school. I gotta go to my master's in teaching program. So I love this poem just because it's so funny and random, but yet very purposeful, like how a lot of my poems are. But it was written in a hurry, that is for sure. And you can see in the writing. I'm gonna do the unimaginable task of showing a computer screen another screen. Oh, I know, the worst possible thing I could do. So there it is, my chicken scratch. You saw it. So, and this poem also has no title, which is like crazy. I usually am all about titles. They set the tone for me. But there are plenty of hashtags. So here's just some hashtags for you guys. Closeted poet. I should have been an author. Hashtag winning. Who knows? I'll just be both teacher and author. But that is that poem for you guys. Um, and of course, just rounding it back to my own practice, I think it would be kind of fun. I'll put my phone away. To kind of reinvent this, because why reinvent the wheel? But just reuse this in my own class, where I give them similar scavenger hunt for their own first week of school. Because I remember when I did this 2 years ago, um, it was a very extraordinary bonding moment because you're in these moments of under pressure and you have to work together and you get to know each other pretty darn quick. So be kind of a fun activity to do with a middle schooler group. Maybe not assign a poem to write, maybe like, get their feet wet first. But that was that poem. And I just thought it'd be kind of fun to throw it in there because I know I've been doing the Writings Inspired series. I've been doing random page of poetry and what have you. And so I just wanted to kind of mix it up a bit. So